Welcome to Patty's Aquatics. Now in today's video, we're going to be rescaping a rescape. Yes, I know, rescaping a rescape. See, what happened was I thought I was done redoing all my fish tanks down here, and I moved my koi angels that I got at that swap meet into my hexagon tank with the Endlers and guppies that I planned on breeding all together, and they started picking off all the babies left and right immediately. See, Patty didn't really think and do enough research, which is strange enough for me because all I do is research. I didn't do enough research and realize that angelfish are cichlids and they are going to eat other smaller fish. So I had a backup plan. Like I discussed in that video, the crayfish. That was always my backup tank of something to do. So let's take a deep dive into there and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So these are the koi angels that I was speaking of from the previous video. My murdering Endler and guppy fry killers. So first things first, to get them into this tank, I've got to get these crayfish out of here. What I'm going to do is remove the crayfish and all the rocks, and I'm going to save those branches for the tank when I scape it. But first, let's put the crayfish into this tote. I'm going to put in some sand and all the rocks and put the crayfish in there with some water. Then I'm going to put them underneath the table behind there. Now, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with them as of yet. I could feed them to my Fahaka puffer, but I'm really leaning towards keeping them and seeing if I can get them to breed in here. It'd be a nice way to kind of be self-sufficient feeding-wise for my Fahaka as well to get them to breed. So that's where they're going to stay for now, but onto the tank. Now what we need to do is get the water out of here, and by doing that, I like to push all the sand up back off away from a corner, and I like to put my hose down in that corner so I can suck as much as that water out of there as I can. And then after I've done that, I'm going to take my big old trusty Minions cup here, and I'm going to scoop all that sand out and throw it in a bucket. So that's what we're going to do to get all that sand out of there. Now that the sand is out, it looks a little mucky, but that is okay. I put all the sand in these two buckets here, and I will save that because what I'm going to do with this tank is I'm going to dirt it now that I took all that out of there, and might as well match all my other tanks down here. So first things first, if I'm going to dirt the tank, is I'm going to need the dirt. Now I have about an inch layer of dirt here with my normal organic compost, organic potting soil. If you want to know how I do all this, you can go back and look at some of my previous videos. But next after this, obviously, is the sand. Now I've got about a 3-inch cap of sand on top of my dirt here. It's looking nice and level, and I like that thickness. So next is we need to put some water in here. And then with that water, I'm going to put a little hardscape. Now I've got this big piece of Mapani wood that I've had for a couple years. It's been sitting in my goldfish tank. And then I also have this big heater here, which I'm acclimating to the temperature right now before I plug it in. I didn't have a heater in this tank because it was for crayfish and I didn't need one. So that's what my plan is for now. But I want to add some more hardscape to it. Those branches that were in this tank with the crayfish, I plan on incorporating them into here. So I stuck them in the corner pointing up towards the surface of the water. I kind of like that look of it. So that's what we'll do with those. Now I got to add some plants. Now I was a little bare on plants because I sold so many at the swap meet I was just at, so I had a hard time finding a lot. But this is a lotus plant that I have. This will try to be my centerpiece when that grows out. It'll be nice big red leaves, and then it'll shoot up lily pads. Then I have some moneywort. I have a little bit of dwarf sagittaria. I've got some polostemon stellatus octopus, some ludwigia, and I think that's about it in here. I kind of disperse them throughout the tank. Now as they grow in, I will kind of propagate and make this look thicker. And then on top I have some salvinia and I have some red root floaters. So that's pretty much going to consist of what the plants and hardscape are in this tank. So next is we got to put these little murderous angels into here and give them their new home. Well, I got them in there. This is a couple days later after the water cleared up a little bit so you could see it a little better. But I don't know, I think they look really nice in there. I'm kind of happy for the scape of this tank, even though it was kind of last minute and as a rush. But it'll progress too. Like I said in previous video, planted tanks usually start bare and then they fill in. So That's no different with this one. Well, that pretty much wraps up the remake of my fish room. Now, you know, my fish room is sort of, it's fluid, and not just with the water within them, but fluid as if things are always changing and always moving. Now, that's what I love about my fish room, is that maybe 6 months or a year from now, I may decide I want to do something different with a different tank, and they can always change. And that's what I like about it. It always keeps me interested and piques my interest. Now, ideally, I don't want to be moving something about a month after I just rescaped it and put new inhabitants in there, but I had no other choice, and that was always my backup plan to begin with. So that being said, if you like this video and this type of content, please consider going to my channel and hitting that subscribe button. And then if you do, make sure you hit that notification bell, because you don't want to miss any of my upcoming projects. That being said, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time here at Patty's Aquatics.